Welcome to Home Gym History. I'm Rob from Vintage Weights PGH, and I have the guy who's nice, and he's also Mike. He's nice like Mike.
That's me. What's up, Rob?
Nothing much, man. I'm over here pumping code Vintage for Home Gym Con,
Let's go.
and that's where, finally I got to meet you in person some years ago, and now it's
hmm
kind of like an annual, little, hey, there's Mike again. How's you doing?
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
So
3 years running.
you've got the shirt on from last year, so
I
it's
do.
hard not to think of it. But now that I got my code vintage out of the way, the reason I have you on here is that I took a different turn a little bit with the podcast, Home Gym History, a couple episodes ago. And not that I don't dig into all of my guests, home gym history. I've been targeting specifically some just home gym enthusiasts, if you will,
Okay.
and trying to get into, what's their history with it. And as a man who's on not one, but two home gym themed podcasts, I thought you'd be a good guest. So let's start there. Like, the podcast, man, you're on Do You Even Lift Bro, as well as Knurled News. How'd that
hmm
all come into your life? Like, what is the podcasting life like for you? What's happening?
Oh, man. Well, let's see. How did that all come to life? Just, I think it was just like a happy accident, I think, if I'm being honest. I briefly mentioned it offline as we were getting ready to hit record. But, 5 years ago, having myself on two podcasts, I mean, at all, let alone for home gym equipment. I would have never have guessed that. But, essentially I was just one of the guys who started posting pictures of my home gym back in 2020 as I built it out. And, somehow became friends with Jake and Kyle and got, invited as a guest on a couple of podcasts.
That's how they get you.
And that's how they get you. Yeah. And apparently I did well enough on those as guests to where when Matt Pendergraph decided to step away from Do You Even Lift Bro, Kyle said, "Hey, do you want to replace Matt as the co-host?" So I said yes to that. And we've been doing that for a couple of years now. And then I think with Knurled News Live, that's a show that Jake over at Garage Gym Experiment and myself have been doing as a live show on Tuesday mornings at 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern. I honestly think that was more a matter of my time zone than my talent as a podcast host, where Jake thought, okay, how do I get somebody to do this with me live? Maybe if they're on the West Coast. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, so Jake just invited me to co-host that with him.
Mhm.
As you know, Jake is very generous with his opportunities, I think.
Yeah.
And you and I both had the courage to say yes to some opportunities that
Yeah.
came our way. And here we are. So that's how Do You Even Lift Bro got started, and now Knurled News Live. And uh, they're a ton of fun. I like them both because Kyle and I don't nerd out too much on like gym
Mhm.
equipment. And so I get to kind of fill that void with Knurled News Live. So, yeah.
It is a nice compliment in that respect, that's for sure. And you're right with the word courage. Like you know, when Jake asked me about doing Home Gym History podcast, it
hmm
wasn't just like an immediate yes. I was very hesitant. Like,
Were you?
I really wasn't sure, like, if I wanted to do it or if I could do it. I just didn't know if it would fit into my life and into my schedule and what I was doing with things. And but he, to his credit, I'm sure this is the same with you. And this is where, other content creators or people branching out trying to do things can learn a lesson. He had like zero to no pressure put
Right.
on me for anything.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Yeah.
what do you want to do? I'm like, all right, I guess we'll do some episodes about the history of this. And he's like, sounds great. Let's do it. And it was like
Yeah.
zero pressure. Like when I got like super busy and was working on a book that I was writing for Sorinex, it was like, no problem. Like I didn't do an episode for however long. I don't know. I think like 7 or 8 months I took off, or maybe less, 6 months, but still a significant amount of time. I just kind of ducked out and he didn't care. And I was back and, so yeah, very, integral to trying to build up a little bit of courage was not having too much pressure.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, definitely. I agree. Jake, not big on the pressure side of things. I jumped at it. I had so much fun doing the guest host thing.
Yeah.
And I was just looking for my, I don't know, my angle or my opportunity. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's what it was. And it's gone really well. I've been on a number of these types of podcasts too, as just as a guest. Like, I just enjoy it. I feel like it's less pressure than trying to create content, for broader consumption. Whereas this, it's like we
Yeah.
have our audience that we know comes back, and I don't have to do as prep for it. I don't have to edit, a crazy Instagram reel that's going to keep people's, 0.3 seconds of attention.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's been fantastic. You mentioned, I think, we knew each other before the first home gym con. The first one was where we met. And I thought so. And then at the second one, I did this like content strategy where I interviewed everybody and asked them like 5 or 6 really quick, sporadic questions about the event.
Not
When that,
everybody, sir.
right.
Not everybody.
So when that content started getting published, you were very vocal in the comments and in the DMs that you wished that you had been part of the interviews. Fast forward to the most recent year 3. We missed each other again, and you were at the top of, you were like number one, but we're busy, right? You're at this event, you're trying to have
Yeah.
these conversations and everything. So
Well,
I
it's
thought,
even Home Gym Con was even bigger and better. But are you
yeah, for
making my
year
dreams
3. Oh
come
yeah.
true here?
I am going to hit you
Let's do
with the questions. And
it.
the other thing too, maybe I'll edit this in, but I have not finished editing mine from year 2. I was very ambitious, interviewed like 40 people, much harder edit than the first year that I did them. And like you mentioned at the beginning of this episode before we went online, my personal and professional life is very busy right now as well. So because
It,
we have a window of time, would you humor me,
yeah,
Rob, and let me
absolutely.
hit you these questions? All right. So
Do it.
we have to set the stage for everybody. We have to assume that we're at a home gym con event. Rob, I'm going to give you this most recent years as your frame of reference for the
Okay.
answers to these questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, Rob. Would you please give me one word that you would use to describe this most recent year's home gym con?
Energetic.
Energetic. Good word. It was buzzing in there. All right. Next question. What do you think was the most innovative piece of equipment that you saw at this year's home gym con?
Ooh, man. Innovative. I'm over here debating between Dowd Motion equipment. So it has to be something at Dowd Motion because I'm fighting out whether I want to say I really liked the safety straps and I really liked just their Ibex. Yeah,
Okay. So you're going to just go with dialed motion in general as
the
the most
Dowd
innovative?
Motion as a company, most
Okay.
innovative. Yeah, I like just about everything they had.
Oh, right. What was your favorite booth at this year's home gym con?
Well, setting aside what I just said with Dowd Motion, we'll put them out of the running just to spread the love.
Okay.
Now, this is tough because it's October. I mean, it's been a solid couple months here.
Yeah.
But if I'm reaching back, some of the bigger booths are, they're still really good to go through. And I was impressed with Rogue, with Rep. But what I thought in terms of just having little things that were just different but made sense would be Bulletproof. I really
Okay.
liked that
Yeah.
Larry, he brought his older equipment, so Vintage Weights. I mean, I love seeing the prototypes. I love seeing the iterations of like, oh, this is how the isolator looked, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then and he even had stuff that he hasn't released yet there. And then he set up like the lounge, so he had like
Yeah.
this. He brought
That
in
was
these
really smart.
couches.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super smart with like phone chargers and just a little area with a bulletproof backdrop for people to sit. And it became like my home base. Like my son and I like went back to, we called it the lounge. We went back to the bulletproof lounge like over and over again throughout the weekend.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think you and I
Bulletproof.
had a conversation at the lounge.
Yeah, that's where I
So,
bumped
yeah.
into the Discord guys and finally met some of those guys from Home Gym
Yeah.
Discord.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it. Okay. So Bulletproof is your favorite booth. All right. So
Yeah.
thinking back to this year's home gym con, if there's one piece of equipment that you could just have magically made appear in your space. You don't have to consider cost or space
Ooh.
in your gym. What was the one piece of equipment that you were going to take from Home Gym
Oh
Con?
man. Well, my goal going into Home Gym Con, setting aside content creation and podcasts and stuff, was to check out as many cable systems as I could.
I remember this.
So yeah, I landed on Dialed Motion. So I'm gonna go with that because that's the one I made happen. So yeah,
Okay. All
or at
right.
least I'm waiting
So
on it to happen.
like their functional trainer attachment.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that's gonna be. I don't know if I've said this publicly yet, but yeah, I'm I have a new rack that I'm bringing in, and
Nice.
then I jumped on the pre-order, and I'll have their cable system coming in. I think January, February, somewhere in there.
All
So
right.
yeah,
Very cool. I was going to ask for an update on the rack because
yeah.
I know that that was the narrative that you were traveling down at Home Gym Con.
Gym Con. Well, I mean, it's a real testament to Home Gym Con that's exactly the way I treated it. There's a major purchase for my home gym that I knew I was going to make that it made sense to wait to try it out in person and then,
Yeah.
and actually speak with owners of companies, speak with inventors, speak with the people who made these things. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
No, sir. All right. Two more questions. What is your favorite thing about Home Gym Con?
Well, I mean, clearly being a complete nerd and trying all the equipment is great. People say it all the time. Oh, it's the people, seeing the people. I'm gonna be a guy that bursts that bubble a little bit. Like, not to
Okay.
be mean,
Oh,
but I mean,
man.
I've said it myself too. That everyone says that. Oh, it's so great to see the people. It is, but you're seeing the people in the best environment to see those people in. So you're seeing your home gym friends in arguably the coolest place to be. So, I mean, it's not just that. I mean, I'd enjoy bumping into you at a restaurant or something. Hey, how you doing,
Sure.
Mike? Nice to see you. But seeing you surrounded by thousands of pieces of gym equipment is like the best. So
Yeah.
it's the fusion of the atmosphere with the people. So that's the best thing about Home Gym Con is, not just meeting the people in person that you talk with online about home gym stuff, but at like the epicenter of home gym equipment.
I like it. I can't argue with that. You're right. If, we ran into those people in a grocery store or a
Yeah.
restaurant, you wouldn't have the time, or just like I don't know, like the vibes wouldn't be as vibey as they are when you're there because it's just you're feeling good already. It's like
Yeah.
being in Disneyland for guys that share our enthusiasm for home gym stuff. All right, last question.
Yeah.
Will we see you at next year's Home Gym Con?
Oh, 100%. I'm
All
booked.
right.
I booked family vacations around it. I checked
Yeah.
like my oldest son's lacrosse tournaments. Like we got to make sure everything fits here. So yeah,
All
I'll
right.
be there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for humoring me. I'm so glad that we
Yeah,
finally get
man.
to have that quick little interview taken care of. Hopefully we'll catch it. I don't know if I'll be doing them again next year, but we can check that one off the box. I'll turn your podcast back
Well,
over to you, Rob.
I'm making some major changes for Home Gym Con next year in terms of what I do. I mean, I'm still going to do the style of interviews I've done the first 3 years, trying to get into the history of these companies and things. But I've got some other things I've thought of because I don't want to say the booth tour is dead, but there's so many content creators now, and just walking through and saying, "Hey, what do you got?" There's 20 other people doing that. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I'm going to leave that to some other people, and I'm still going to dig into the history of company. But I've already got some ideas of different ways of doing that. So,
Well,
yeah,
you heard it here first, guys. The booth tour is dead.
I don't think it's dead.
The Home
I
Gym
just
Con booth tour is dead.
no, it's. I don't think it's dead. I just think it's, if you've got Coop walking through booths, that's where
Yeah.
most of the eyeballs are going to go. So it's,
Yeah.
and all respect to Coop. I mean, such a nice guy. Bumped into him in an elevator. Cool to meet him in person. He was on the podcast, of course,
Mm-hmm.
on
Yeah.
Home Gym History a while back. So, but I just mean, a lot of people are doing booth tours, so I want to
Yeah.
do something a little different. So, for example, your co-host Kyle did some different stuff this year,
Yeah,
and I
he had a
really
great
liked
idea.
that.
Yeah, it
He
was
had some
good.
great ideas doing it. He hit the leg extensions, I think, and just kind of focused like on that piece of equipment that I'm gonna zone in on this, and I'm gonna hit this booth, and this booth just for this equipment. That was a great idea. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking along those lines. He kind of inspired me.
Okay. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing what comes out of the content factory,
Yeah, we'll
Rob's
see.
content factory next year.
Well, what about you though? So, your main content creation, and correct me if I'm wrong, would be Instagram, nice like Mike. But then
Hmm.
you also have YouTube, and I've heard you mention before on your podcast that, you might head down that road creating some longer form content and stuff. But
Yeah.
in the past, what got you started creating content in the first place? Like why even put anything on Instagram?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as I think I mentioned earlier, I just started posting pictures of the gym that I'd put together. Before that, though, before 2000, I think it was probably somewhere, or sorry, before 2020, it was probably somewhere around like 2014, 15, when I got really inspired by some of like the daily vloggers on YouTube, especially the guys who had families. Casey Neistat was a huge and still is a huge inspiration to me. And uh, watching his content and the way that he documented like his family traveling or just even himself kind of moving through the world, I always thought it was super creative and I liked it a lot. And so my wife and I, when we would travel, I would make my own attempts at putting together something way more entertaining to watch than like Uncle Larry's old home
Yeah.
videos,
Yeah.
that you've got like an hour long VHS
Mhm.
tape for 10 seconds of a funny moment that you're trying to find from that day so many years ago.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to basically just level up from most dads with a GoPro and actually edit together like a family vlog. And so it
Sure.
started there. And that's where I learned how to like do some basic editing and really kind of somewhat tell a story, just had fun with it. And so
Mm.
did that for a few years, posted stuff to like my personal Instagram, little edits of like snow days with the family and stuff like that. Did really great for like my 300 friends and family followers. But when the home gym stuff started to take off, it became that creative outlet for me and
Mm.
kind of replaced the family vlogging a little bit. I still document most of our family trips. I just never edit anything together. But that's where that kind of came from.
The editing
Was
gets you.
It does. The editing is the toughest part. But yeah, so that's where that came from, and that's where I started, kind of taking some of the things I learned with the family
Okay.
vlogging or family documenting stuff, and started to do that with Instagram and
Mm.
Reels and things like that. So yeah, that's where that came from. I still really enjoy it. I love the editing I love it. I love the all of it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, the capturing of the content, the editing. I just don't have time to do it as much as I'd like to. But yeah.
I went the opposite direction.
Okay.
I'm still learning for sure in terms of content creation, but releasing YouTube videos and trying to keep pace with releasing one every week. I'm making mistakes left and right. I'm learning, but it kind of inspired me like, oh, why don't I like, I'm spending this time like editing this reel with like a weight plate. Why don't I make like instead of putting up just like a couple random pictures on my personal like accounts of like something my family did, why don't I put
Yeah.
together something a little more inspired? So I did it for
Yeah.
I think the first time. No, actually, no. I spliced together as like a Mother's Day thing. I interviewed. Oh, actually, it's kind of like your home gym con interviews. I did it with my
Oh,
four
really?
children. Yeah,
That's
I asked my four
great.
children various questions about their mom,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
I edited. I used the editing stuff software that I use for the gym to edit it together and make this like Mother's Day reel for her. So that was the first time. But then recently, I got inspired again. We went to see the Savannah Bananas when they were in Pittsburgh, and it was tremendous. It was
No
by
idea
far
who
the
that
best
is.
baseball. It's a baseball team
Oh, I
that
know
is,
what it is.
people say they're
Yes.
kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball,
Of
but they're more
baseball.
than that because they're
Yeah.
actually competitive. Like they could lose, and it's so entertaining. But so it was a great family like adventure. Um, so I took all kinds of little videos throughout and kind of just made this pretty cool little
I
thing. And
dig it.
I'll tell you what, my 250 Facebook friends, they really liked
They
it.
loved it.
My aunt in Arkansas was all over
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
So,
love it.
but I mean,
Love
I
to
just
hear it.
kind of I felt a little guilt almost like, why am I'm spending all this time editing this gym stuff? Why don't I do this to my family? So, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't want to be
Yep.
Uncle Larry's like boring video, like you said.
Right. I mean, look, this is a blip of time in the longer timeline that we will, walk this earth, that we're have the opportunity to make some home gym content. I think that's probably why I still capture most of those moments, even though I don't edit them together, is that
Mm.
one day I'll be retired and I'll just, maybe that will be my hobby, is I'll just start editing together all of
Yeah.
the old family trips that never got finished. But good job. I'm glad to hear that you gave it a whirl. It's a lot of
Yeah.
fun, and the family really
Yeah.
appreciates it. Yeah,
Well, I need to do it more often. So maybe
yeah.
that'll be my New Year's resolution this coming 2026. Do
There
it
you
more often.
go. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you're on your nice like Mike profile. It says girl dad. So what's your family interaction with your gym? Like, is your gym a space that your wife also works out in, or that your daughter comes in, or is this like kind of your moment to be alone, like, and have a little solitude to yourself?
It is that. I would love for it to be more of like a shared space, and it's not for any unwillingness on my
Yeah.
part. It just my wife does not use the gym. She stole one of my 15-pound kettlebells from in there, and she's got some 7.5 and 12.5 pound dumbbells, like pairs of them, that I saved from the last set that I sold. Like, I'm like, oh, hey, here's these, oddball fractional dumbbells, 6.5 or sorry, 7.5 and a 12.5. We'll keep these. And so she keeps those in our bedroom, and she just works out from the carpet, and
Yeah.
or like this little folding bench that we have that's not a real fitness bench, so she does not use it. My daughter does like to come out there and hang out with me in the mornings. If she wakes up and I'm out there, she'll come join me. Most of the time it's because she's trying to catch like an Avengers movie at 7 o'clock in the morning, just so that I could, occupy her while I'm in there. My space is not big enough where she could like be climbing on one rack while I'm working over in a different set. If she's playing in there, I'm not lifting. So I have to entertain her with a movie
That's
or
very true.
something. Yeah. So
You
she
say
comes in
out
there.
there. Are
Yeah.
you're in a garage? Is it not connected to your house?
It is not.
Okay.
So here I live in the Phoenix area. We're in one of those like master planned golf communities. There's like 2 golf
Okay.
courses here. So a lot of the houses, ours included, have a third garage bay that is built basically for the golf cart, because you're not allowed to just leave them
Oh,
parked outside. The HOA
gotcha.
requires you to park them in a garage. So
Yeah.
we have a third like separated tinier garage. It's like 11 feet wide by about 18 feet long,
Yeah.
basically designated for a golf cart. But then we also have the standard 2-car garage that's separate from that.
Hmm.
That's where our cars get parked. We don't have a golf cart, much to my wife's dismay. And so the golf cart garage is where I have my gym set up. And so, yeah,
Gotcha.
there's no path from the house directly into it. You have to
Mhm.
walk through our little courtyard, backyard, to
Gotcha.
get to the gym. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's an interesting setup. So then, I've heard you talk on your podcast
Hmm.
quite a bit about your setup. So you have a Rhino, correct?
I do. I have a Rogue
And
Rhino.
the Rogue Rhino with your rack. Is it fair to say that's the centerpiece of things? So your rack is also Rogue,
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
assuming.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. My
just off the
my
top of my head.
my rack is a Rogue rack. I do have a drop-in Rhino in there. Yeah, I would say it's the centerpiece of the gym. I mean, it takes up probably a third of the gym. When
Yeah,
you drop a Rhino into your rack, it gets much bigger.
it's
You're
correctly
like,
named. Yeah.
yeah, it's, you add about about 30 inches to the back of your rack. Plus you lose about 24 inches inside your rack, depending on your setup. But yeah, I originally started with an RM3, the same one I have now, a Rogue Monster
Mhm.
3. So that's a 30-inch interior depth. I got lucky. I don't know. The uprights they sent me were scratched, and I asked them for some touch-up paint, and said they sent me 2 other uprights to replace them. So I
The same
got a
thing happened to me.
6-post rack. Did it really?
Yes, like
Yeah, teaching everybody the
I
touch-up paint maneuver. I didn't
I
know
was gonna say, now
it was
this
a maneuver.
was, I don't know, 5 years ago now, but or four
Yeah,
years ago. I guess it was 4 or 5 years ago. But the rack behind me right now, the RML 490 came and scratched up and down, and
yeah.
2 of the uprights. I was like, hey guys, like, I was really nice about it. I don't think I was too like
I'm
aggressive.
sure you were the
And then,
nicest. Yeah,
but I just felt like I saved my money for a long time for this thing. Like
yeah,
I don't want a scratched up rack right off day one.
yeah,
So then
yeah.
they sent me, 2 more uprights. I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah, yeah, just a
So,
couple of Karens here telling everybody our secrets.
yeah. So then,
Yeah,
do you, uh, this is a tough one. Do you see yourself continuing forward as with the Rhino, or are you being tempted by like Voltra, being tempted by other systems?
yeah, it's I've made some interesting choices in my build. I've always anticipated eventually getting like a full 2-car garage to
Mm,
really get rooted into. I always thought that the current golf cart garage that I'm in was going to be very temporary. It's 3 years later, and as we even evaluate maybe a new home, it's probably going to be the same. It'll be a smaller space, just like that. When you're in an HOA, you can't build a big old shed out in the
True.
backyard. But anyway, because of that, I have a full set of urethane dumbbells, 5 to 100s. Takes up a
Yeah.
huge footprint. I have a commercial treadmill, takes up a huge footprint in there. So when you start to say, like, have you thought about, where are you going with all of this? I've always thought I'll have more space, so I'll buy bigger stuff later.
Hmm.
I'll buy a real functional trainer. I don't need a rack attached one, that kind of thing. But yes, you asked about the Voltra. I think about it all the time. It would be the most practical way for me to add cables to my space, and without having to, you're paying about the same amount for some twin stacks, but again, just takes up more space. Um, but yeah, I think for right now, if you're, I don't know if you're asking this, but maybe it was insinuated, like what's next. I
Pretty
want
much, I'm
some
asking
type
that.
of, yeah, like what I need some cable. If anybody knows who I am or has checked out my Instagram, I've come up with some very creative ways to set up my rack as a functional
Oh
trainer. I
yeah,
have like cables, and I use the Rhino as my weight source,
that
but
was my
it's,
impression of you when I first got to know you. Was like, this is this guy's thing. Like
oh, really?
he's like a gym hack kind of guy.
I
Like
guess
that
it
was
kind of
like
was. Yeah. Yeah.
that was at least the time that I started following you and started like seeing what you were posting. I thought, oh, okay, cool. This is what this guy does. He like, he posts like these gym
Yeah.
hacks, or look, like he has, if you get this, and this little pulley, you can do this kind of stuff.
I mean, that was really out of necessity. I paid for my gym by flipping gym equipment back when
Yeah,
it was
me
lucrative to do
too.
so. Yeah. And so it wasn't, I couldn't take the review angle because I wasn't going to spend the money to buy the newest, hottest thing and
Yeah.
do a review on it. And I didn't have a lot of interest in doing that. And I really was just genuinely sharing my own home gym journey. That started with a bunch of
Hmm.
lumber because I couldn't buy anything. I built a rack, I built a bench. And same thing, I wanted to diversify my training, but I didn't want to spend money to do it. So if I could figure out a way to hack it
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
it was fun. And I liked that creative piece of it. But I mean, nowadays you can buy stuff, and I have relationships. I could maybe reach out and ask for a handout, but a lot of it, again, still out of necessity. I don't want to spend money on a $3,000 functional trainer add-on,
Yeah.
or a Voltra for that matter. So I figure out how to hack it together, to keep things as interesting as possible in a home gym where you don't have like commercial grade machines everywhere to do 1,000 different workout variations. But yeah, so I guess you saw me as the hacks guy just because that was all I had that was interesting to share. You know, it's like, hey, here's
Yeah.
this little thing I
No, it
came up
wasn't a
with.
bad thing
What
at
do you
all. I
think?
thought it was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah,
Yeah.
not bad at all. It was cool. Um, so then let's keep going down that path. So why home gym in the first place? You briefly kind of mentioned how you like you built some stuff, you did whatever, but like what
Yeah.
what was the first iteration of a home gym you ever had, and what inspired that? I guess I should ask.
Sure. So in 2009, I started doing at home workouts. P90X was what I started
Yeah.
doing. A cousin had turned me on to it. I was significantly overweight. I was like close to 300 pounds, very big, and just
Wow.
like was not always that guy. I was an athlete in high
How tall are
school
you?
and 6'1".
Just okay.
Yeah, I
So
carried
300
it pretty
pounds.
well. But it was still big. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
still
was still
big.
big. Yeah. Um yeah, and
If you
so
had said like 5'3", I would have fallen off my off my
right.
bench.
Yeah.
I've been
Well,
like,
you've
"Whoa,
you've met
Mike!"
me in person.
But
You've
I
met me
have,
in person.
yes.
Yeah. Uh yeah, so that I started doing P90X
Okay.
in 2009, and you don't need any equipment for that. But
Yeah.
if you've seen it, there's usually one person doing it without equipment, one with like
Mm-hmm.
moderate equipment, and somebody if you had like a couple of pieces to work with. And from there, I think I probably bought like one of those door frame mounted pull up bars.
Oh
And
yeah.
then I bought some like 15-pound dumbbells, from Dick's Sporting Goods. And then that evolved to where in my
Yeah.
little bedroom that I rented from a buddy who owned a condo back in 2009, I had a bunch of miscellaneous dumbbells on the floor, some resistance bands. I had that pull up bar thing in my bedroom door jamb. And that continued to evolve over like 4 or 5 years to where I had like a bunch of like 1 inch plates and a standard barbell in my living room. Like just like when my
Yeah.
wife met me, I just had a bunch of 1 inch plates like all tucked in the
It's the way to
corner,
go.
a standard curl bar, a standard straight bar, and I would just heave them up onto my chest or whatever
That's a
for
pretty good
bench
flex, though.
press.
The
Yeah.
first time you brought your girlfriend over and you got some weights laying around.
I mean, my adjustable bench also served as my coffee table, so I would like lay it flat and like roll it in front of my
Nice.
sofa to be my coffee table. I mean, I'm single guy, one bedroom apartment.
Makes
You
sense.
got things have to have dual purpose. So yeah, that's when those were like the first iterations of a
Okay.
home gym, and then I
Any
eventually.
particular, like this bench or anything? Was this just like the first thing you saw at the sporting goods store or online, or was it like a company we know of?
The bench was a Marcy bench
Okay.
from
I had a
Amazon.
Marcy as well.
Yeah, it
Nice.
was great. I think it had like
Yeah.
3 adjustment points,
Mhm.
flat, maybe 30-ish, and then maybe like 50-ish
Mhm.
degrees. Marcy bench, and then I don't know. The 1 inch plates were just some great deal I got on Marketplace. I paid like
Sure.
30 cents a pound for them or something.
Yeah.
And then Amazon 1 inch barbell, Amazon, they were probably Cap, those were just Amazon
Yeah.
purchases. I did eventually buy some Bowflex 1090s because I needed
Okay.
something heavy. Quickly learned that those were not for me, but
Yeah.
I wrote
R.I.P.
them out.
Bowflex. They just
Yeah.
went under, I think.
Did they
Yeah.
formally, finally?
I think,
Um,
well, there's a biggest recall in history or something like that for their dumbbells.
oh
Some
my
kind of headline I
gosh.
saw about the dumbbells
Yeah.
was not a good one.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay.
exactly what it was, but it was not good.
All
So
right.
hey, you beat that.
I did. I
You
did.
were
I
ahead of
sold
head of the game.
those 1090s for about what I paid for them. But yeah, so those, yeah, pretty much no name stuff.
Yeah,
Bowflex because it's what I knew. Marcy bench because it was well reviewed on Amazon. Um,
sure.
yeah, yeah,
I
that
was
was where it
chuckling at
started.
the door frame pull-up bar because,
Yeah,
well, you mentioned doing reviews to buy stuff, be the first one out there. I have not done yet at all. I do reviews like whatever 5 years after something comes out.
yeah,
My reviews are the latest reviews. Like, hey, if someone's stumbling late to the game, like I'm the guy for you. But I still, companies will contact me to say like, hey, would you review this? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty selective in what I accept because I don't want to. I don't want to have to use something that I don't want to use. So,
Okay.
and creating content takes time. I don't want to
Yeah.
mess around with something that whatever looks like a piece of crap from the start. But I'm chuckling because, long story short, just the other day I got this partnership requests, and I opened it, and I mean it had this big buildup, like this new innovative, revolutionary workout device for the home. And it was one of those. It was a door jam like pull-up bar, and I was like, is this like the Onion or something? Is this like a joke? And no, I mean this company, I don't want to say who they were, but they were really hot to trot on this door
Were
jam
there
pull-up bar, that it was an innovative, amazing new invention. And I'm thinking, I had one of these when I was like 17. Like, what?
was there any iterations made on it that you could see? Like, did they bend the
It was
bars different way,
two
or
curved things with a
oh no,
with a
oh
bar that
no,
hooked up to the
yeah,
door. I
yeah.
mean,
And those things
yeah,
destroy your door jams, by the way. No matter how hard
yeah.
you try, they destroy your door jams. But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's
So I was in a weird cycle of buying them and then getting rid of them because I would have an apartment that had door jams that it worked on, and then not.
uh-huh.
And then
Oh,
I'd get a place that didn't have like a door frames, because a lot of
yeah.
older houses sometimes don't. Or yeah. So yeah, I I've had several of those in my day.
Ah,
So that email, oof, that was a quick like no
so
thanks.
that was a no
I'm gonna
thanks.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
pass on this new innovation.
They're surprisingly strong, to be honest with you. But
I used them for years. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
We watch a lot of fail videos in my family. Like it's like a nightly
Uh,
routine where we'll watch like Fail Army or something. Anytime I see somebody hanging from one of those things, I'm like,
oh
here it comes! Like here it comes!
yeah,
They're about to do something dumb and
yeah.
crack their tailbone, and it happens every time. Always a good laugh.
I've thankfully survived.
Yeah, same, same.
So
Yeah.
then that's what led you down the road of the home gym. When you're mentioning about in the future, maybe 2-car garage, things like that.
Hmm.
When do you think, what was like the was it getting like your Rogue Rack and the Rhino? Like what was like the big step up? Was there like a big whoa kind of step up for your home gym, in terms of what you have and your setup?
That's a good question, Rob. I
Because
mean,
like I started out with some hex dumbbells in the corner of a studio apartment. Like that
okay.
was it. That was the home gym. As an adult, as a kid, I had like a cheap weight bench like from Kmart that was down in the basement, with some like standard plates. And then
Oh,
eventually in the
yeah, I
attic of
never
my
had that.
house, I was weirdly up in the attic with like storage boxes, like working out.
Okay. I mean, I think I'm a first generation home gymmer in
Yeah.
my family, so I didn't grow up with a home gym in the house. But so I took about 4 or 5 years off from home gym life. I eventually found like a powerlifting slash commercial ish gym that I really loved, and sold off all of the stuff that I just
Okay.
talked to
That
you
you just
about.
mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was full bore commercial gym leading up until 2020 when all that happened. I didn't know anything. So I just knew I needed to work out. And at the time, I was following like as many reviews as possible. It was one of the few fitness content creators that I was following. And he highly was like updating people when stuff was in stock. And American Barbell, who I did not know who they were at the time, was selling barbells and bumper plates amongst a couple of other things. And I was able to snatch literally a single pair of 55-pound rubber bumper
Nice.
plates and like their cheapest budget power bar. And getting those in was when I kind of started to pay attention, like, oh, wait, this bar doesn't feel like the ones I'm accustomed to using at the gym,
Yeah.
or these bumper plates aren't quite like the iron plates that I liked at the gym. And that's what initiated me finding the home gym subreddit, finding the Discord, really going down this rabbit hole of like, oh, wow, there's levels to this and varying costs. It's not about just going on Amazon and picking the most affordable,
Yeah.
well-reviewed piece that you can find. And yeah, so I started building stuff because I didn't have any money to buy it, and then started flipping stuff. And by the time that I was financially ready to make a purchase, I had been so influenced by the horde of like, upper echelon equipment that I knew I was going to get a Rogue Rack, so I did, and that was that. To answer your question and bring my answer in for a landing, yeah, that was like the first big, like, okay, this is
Yeah.
legit now. You're not squatting off of what is it? Was it like a 3x3 piece of lumber that you got at Home Depot
I
anymore?
had my big home gym hack was I didn't have an adjustable bench for the longest time. I just had a flat bench, but I had a real sturdy milk crate. So I used to put the bench up on a milk crate and
Yeah.
do incline bench press. So
Oh
that was my
man.
one setting. I didn't have multiple settings. My setting was milk crate or no milk crate. So yeah,
Absolutely.
you got to do what you got
Yeah.
to do.
You
But
do. I
then I got the
mean,
Marcy. That was my first adjustable
okay.
bench. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, the Marcy was long gone by
yeah,
2020. So I did the same thing. I laid like a 2x12 board on like a bar and propped it up and then
yeah.
used that for like
That's
incline
probably not
benching. Super
safe. Yeah,
sketch. No, not
very
safe at
sketchy.
all. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It got views though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
This
along the
guy's gonna kill
way,
himself.
you've bought and sold plenty flipping
Mm-hmm.
weights, and I mean
Mm-hmm.
that's near and dear to my heart. I'm still buying stuff on the used market when I'm looking for older stuff, and actually newer stuff too. It's just nice when you see something you want pop up for cheap and it's in good condition.
Heck
So,
yeah.
but on the other hand, I've had my regrets with some purchases. So, anything come to mind over your home gym tenure here in terms of something that you were like, man, I shouldn't have gotten this? And it doesn't have to be like faulty equipment. Maybe it just personally didn't suit you, you know?
Yes. Gosh, there's been a couple of those. Let's see. I'll name off a few. For one, that American Barbell power bar that I bought, it was their Grizzly power bar.
Okay.
American Barbell is well known for passive knurling. The
Hmm.
Chewy bar, as an aside.
That was the
Um,
exception.
the exception, yeah, and that the powerlifting gym that I had been training at had Texas power bars. So I was
Mm.
much more accustomed to not only an aggressive knurling, but a 20.5 millimeter shaft. So when I
Yeah.
got in this 29 millimeter, very passively knurled bar, I was like, why does this feel so foreign in my
Yeah.
hands? Um, so that was not a great, decision. Neither were those 55-pound bumper plates. Those were literally my first purchases and they were just mistakes, but I used them. And then during the crazy COVID thing, I bought like 1,000 pounds worth of York milled plates, like their current era legacy milled
Oh, so
plates.
you're not talking vintage milled
No, no,
ones.
no, no. I'm
I remember
talking
this actually.
like
We've talked about this
brand new.
because, oh,
Yeah,
yeah, that was,
brand
you're
new.
talking the New York plates that are made overseas. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And a number, I think I bought 1245s, and like 8 of them looked like they had applied like some type of a liquid concrete
Oh,
with their
jeez.
hands, because like the molds must have, like the cast must have just been terrible, and
I
so they
mean,
literally just like
there's
used their fingers to like,
foundry putty. Yeah,
yeah,
foundry
foundry
putty.
putty. That must have been what
Yeah.
you could see their fingerprints
Yeah, that's
on the
tough.
plates. Yeah, those were
That's
rough.
real old school. That is not what you want to
Yeah.
see in the 2000s.
No,
like the
no,
vintage York I have up on the wall. Like
right.
that's foundry putty's okay on that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, this foundry putty was next level. So
Oh
those
man,
were some pretty bad purchases. But thankfully,
that's
they were
rough.
purchased at a time when people were just happy to get anything that weighed a lot of
That's what I was going to
pounds.
ask. Was
So,
it necessity or was it just kind of like the perception? Oh, York's been around forever. These will be great. Like what led you to this purchase?
uh, man, like, yeah, I mean, not knowing a lot. I mean, they say USA on them. I thought they were made in USA. Not that that
Yeah.
influenced my buying decision, but I was like, oh, cool, they're made in USA. They're
Yeah. Yeah.
great. I think I had watched like a Brandon Campbell Diamond video from like way back, and he was comparing plates, and I think I had seen. I'm pretty
You're
sure I was familiar
if you're
with the.
going full name, then it must be way back.
It was way
'Cause-
back. Yeah. Well, yeah. He was like Campbell Fitness back then, but
yeah.
he was just breaking down the different plates, and I think he might have talked about Yorks in there or made a brief reference. I just knew, okay, I can get a milled plate that's going to be nice.
Yeah.
And they were really affordable at the time. If you could catch them when they post them on the
Okay.
website, it was the most affordable milled plate you could get. And I was familiar with the brand from watching Pumping Iron. Lou Ferrigno is like overhead pressing some York plates
He's the guy.
in
Yeah.
that one, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like, okay, York, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
And yeah, not a great decision, but that's what did it. Yeah.
Were you able to recoup any of the cost on the
Oh
secondary
yeah.
market? That's good.
Yeah. I think I probably sold them for what I got them for, maybe even made some money. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Who knows? It was wild times back then. Yeah.
It's yeah, the height of, I mean, I had to seriously question how much I enjoyed some of my weights and things whenever prices were skyrocketing for weights. But
Yeah.
it also really, I think it honed like my search skills, because you
Oh
had to
yeah.
be
I
even
bet.
faster than usual during like the COVID shutdown, because everybody was looking for anything at all. So that was it was a good time to develop your search skills on the used market for gym equipment.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I found a pair of like rusted, or no, like a set of like rusted Olympic plates that I restored and
There you
painted
go.
and flipped for way more
Yeah.
than I bought them for. Yeah.
I mean, well, the nice thing for anyone who collects vintage weights and equipment was coming down from that, because some people stuck with their home gyms, but then maybe they upgraded.
Sure.
They didn't want these old rusty weights anymore. They didn't
Right.
realize the old rusty weights were worth thousands of dollars.
Right.
So they, were like, I'm gonna buy Strength Co. and get rid of these. And nothing against Strength Co. I have Strength Co. plates. They're great. But yeah, coming down from that kind of height of the fervor of things also
Yeah.
released some really interesting things onto the used market for weights and older equipment. But as far as your purchase regrets and things, let's flip that a little bit, and the positive. Do you have what are some favorites in your gym? Do you have a favorite? Your go-to barbell. Do you absolutely love when you see something in your programming because you get to use whatever piece of equipment?
Ooh, I like that question. My Rhino has been the best purchase that I've made for my gym. For a handful of reasons. The most important being that I have just a recurring herniated disc in my lower back. That no matter how much rehab I put it through, if I start trying to work back up towards like even relatively heavy barbell squats, something happens and it sets me back weeks. So
Oh,
uh, it's great for that. Having a great belt squat in the gym is fantastic, but also because it powers all of the different pulley setups that I've figured out, it's probably the most used piece of equipment in the gym for both belt squats and then other accessory type of work. I also get creative with how I use it. I use it for hip thrust. I use it for a couple of other interesting things that you can see on my Instagram, but the Rhino has been just a great purchase because it's just practical. It gives me a way to squat and powers a lot of other creative stuff I want to do in the gym.
mhm.
And that was a marketplace find, and I got it for
Nice.
great price. Yeah, so did really well on that. And in terms of like what gets me excited to train, usually pulley stuff. I love anything pulley related, like whether it's like cable flies or even cable curls. Like I just, I was doing, I think, purely barbell stuff for so
Mhm.
long that I still get excited to see any kind of anything with a pulley, or even if I see something like I could do a pulley variant of that
You're gonna
instead of the
switch it.
dumbbell variant of that. Yeah. And then I've gone through a lot of barbells, but I got a grab bag Rogue Agro power bar. And I would say, if you're familiar, they've got the Agro 2 and then the Agro
Oh yeah.
3. I'm pretty sure that the reason that it was put as a grab bag is that the knurling wasn't finished either to a 2 or to a 3. So it sits kind of in the middle where
Interesting.
it's
I
like
like
a
that though.
Agro 2.5 or like
Yeah.
an Agro 2.7 type
Uh-huh.
of thing. Fully stainless sleeve, stainless shaft. And it doesn't have the Agro Cerakote on it.
Okay.
So it's just pure stainless,
Yeah.
you know, once in a lifetime grab from the grab bag. I've got
Sounds
custom
nice.
Dr. Tatty Waffles end caps on it.
My last
So
guess on the show.
right.
Nice.
Yeah, Daniel. So that's my daily driver is my
Very
Agro
cool.
2.5 that I
Yeah.
nabbed out of the grab bag sale. And I've got plenty of other barbells. I've got a ton of them. It's
Yeah.
that and cable attachments are like the two things I can still
Yeah.
purchase and find room for in my
I
gym.
mean, I've heard you and Jake talk on Knurled News Lab about,
Yeah.
yeah, and I agree with you guys that there's a current shift towards away from like collecting barbells to like cable attachments and things going on. Definitely, I agree with that. I think that's happening, but I'm not getting rid of my barbells anytime soon. Like
Really?
I love the variety, man. Like it just
Yeah.
keeps me motivated, and it's like it's an embarrassing uh, spoilment. It's definitely a spoiled kind of thing standing in front of a ton of barbells like what I'm going to
Yeah.
use today. But on the
Yeah.
other hand, it's really nice. It's a luxury I enjoy, and before I start um, whatever movement I'm doing, I look at that barbell rack like, all right, who's coming out today?
That's interesting. I
Nice.
like to hear that. That's good. I am holding on to barbells for the what if factor. You know, like what if somebody comes and trains in the gym and wants to use a Mars
Yeah,
bar,
yeah, yeah,
or what if my herniated disc gets to a point where I can load my spine again? Maybe I'll use the
yeah,
Titan SSB then. So there's like a couple of
yeah.
bars that I don't really even use anymore,
Uh-huh.
but I'm holding on to them because it's just not worth it for me
Yeah.
to sell them and get a couple $100. But
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, it's
I pared down both bars and cable attachments a little bit for the sake of trying to get a little better quality. So like I
okay.
had so many cable attachments, and a lot of them were just cheap, and like I don't know, I didn't even use them that much. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get rid of all of these and just get some better quality cable attachments. So I did that, and I had, I think, maybe like four cable attachments that were just more expensive and better quality, and I loved it. And then I've just kind of selectively added on since then. So then the latest is Rev Bar from
Oh,
Order for
nice.
Zed.
Did you get it already?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
but
okay.
I purchased it on pre-order.
Okay.
Actually, no. Well, the most recent is the Eclipse grips that came out.
Oh,
So my
nice. You
Eclipse
like
grips,
those?
I really enjoy them so far. I'll have a video out soon, but yeah,
Nice.
I'll have a video out soon, and I enjoy them so far. Um, but yeah, recent purchase that hasn't arrived would be Rev Bar. What about you? What's let's I want to be respectful of your time, so let's
Mm,
wrap up on that, like leaning into, what's something that you added recently to your gym.
okay.
I know you got an Eclipse grips recently. I've heard you talk about that, but anything after that?
I am a big Eclipse Grips stan. Those are great. New. I just got the ROM pad from AbMat today.
You
Literally showed
got
up
it.
today. Yep.
Okay, I
Yep.
I just ordered one the other day. Look
Nice.
at you.
Okay. Yep. So
Nice.
that's new. That arrived today.
Cool.
I'll probably figure out some way to try it tomorrow. I wanted
Yeah.
to today, but I was in the middle of my workday. But ROM pad, I'm hoping that's a good decision. Before that, I recently got a pretty nice haul on Marketplace from a buddy who was moving, and in that haul, I got the Rogue Monster multi roller, which is just
Oh,
that huge
okay.
rack mounted roller that they have.
The
Use
big
it to
one,
hold the
yeah.
huge one.
I
Yeah.
was goofing around with it with Peach from Design Build Lift at Home
At
Gym
home Gym
Con.
Con.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were just goofing around like this is the biggest leg roller in the world. Yeah.
It's a beast.
So what is it for, like hip thrust? What are you doing with that?
I think so. Its primary use case is as a leg stay for lat pull downs.
Okay,
Like they
got it.
released it when they started doing their rack mounted functional
Okay,
trainers at Rogue, including,
okay,
and they have a lat pull down on there. That I think was its primary use case, was as a leg holder.
makes sense.
But um, obviously Bulgarian split squats come to mind because it's
Mhm.
just a comfortable place to rest one leg. But I use it for hip thrust as well. And then I've only had it for a few weeks, so I haven't. I think hip thrust is probably the most creative way I've used it, and I did post a reel for how I do that. But it's just a nice. It also has like a micro adjustment where you can pivot it
Oh,
so that you don't have to go a full 2 inches up or down. You can kind
okay.
of get like a 1 inch adjustment on it,
Hmm.
which works really good for a leg stay for lat pull
Yeah.
downs because I was using just single leg rollers,
Uh-huh.
and that was 2 inches. You know, you had to
Hmm.
move it between, and not couldn't quite find the exact spot. So
Yeah.
that's been a really good purchase.
I've been tying myself to the bench with a extra belt with a dip belt. I
Uh,
run the chain underneath the
yeah,
bench because I have a, UPS surplus strength on the side of my rack. So then I
yep,
tie myself to the bench for heavy lat pull downs. So something I'm looking forward to with my dialed motion stuff is that I also purchased um, their seat, their bench. I can't think of the
nice.
official title yet. So
Yeah, yeah.
having something to actually like sit on my legs, a leg stay, if you will be a welcomed a welcomed innovation in my gym rather than having to like chain myself to the bench.
I've been there before when I was in, when I had gotten, I don't think I have a UPS. It's not currently in use, but I haven't gotten rid of it because I think it will be back in play at one point. But even before I had that, I had no way to stay my legs. And I basically built like a cross member, a movable cross member out of 2x4s, and would use that to hold my legs. It was not the
Yeah,
most comfortable thing, but it kept my knees down. So
do what
I'm
you got to
with you
do.
on, yeah, exactly. You do what you got to do. So yeah, the multi roller has been good. I've also been on a journey like you recently. I've been kind of like upgrading cable attachments where I had cheap ones. I got the nice ones. I had a bunch of knockoff mag grips, got rid of them, got just one like
Mhm.
actual branded mag
Whoa.
grip. um yeah, little stuff like that. I think in terms of future purchases, I'm really trying to figure out how to get an actual functional trainer in there, whether it's
Mhm.
swapping out the whole rogue rack and going with something else that's got something baked in, or maybe getting a Voltra or two. I'm not sure. I'm not in a position to make that decision
Yeah.
yet, but something like that will be next. Short of that, it'll just be little onesie twosie stuff I can store up, hide it in a rack or in a
Yeah.
corner. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Until
yeah.
that 2-car garage dream comes true.
Until that opens up for me. Yeah, it's not going to be here in Phoenix because
Yeah.
we're not going to sacrifice our cars to the death
Yeah.
sun here. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the whole different ball game than Pittsburgh.
Oh man, yeah, it gets bad. It's bad. It dries out everything.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean, you never know what's going to happen down the road. And yeah, in the meantime, I'll keep tuning in. I can never listen live, but I'm a replay gang for No News. And then I catch Do You Even Lift Bro, of course. I mean, how could I not here on Garage Gym Radio?
That's
So,
right.
listeners, if you're listening to my show, then you might as well listen to these other Garage Gym Radio shows. And you can catch Mike on Instagram, nice like Mike, and I'll drop links to all that kind of stuff in the description. So, hey, Mike, thanks so much for stopping by.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, Rob. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man.
Talk to you later.